solving one-step equations. Hopefully this set of notes is going to be pretty simple and it's going to make sense. Hopefully this should be a review. Remember, an equation has an equal sign, so our first example we're going to do is x plus 5 equals 10. So this is an equation because it has that equal sign. So again, hopefully this is a review for you and it is super simple, but we're still going to take it step by step. So each day we're going to do, today we're going to do adding and subtracting, or each video I should say. So this video is adding and subtracting, the next set will be multiplying and dividing. So anytime you solve an equation, you're trying to look at the equation and figure out what number goes in for the unknown. Remember, x is a number we don't know yet, or is a number that's changing, but in this case it's just a number we don't know, and we're trying to figure out what does x equal that would make this side equal 10 because this side equals 10. Well, this one is easy, and this is, or hopefully this one's easy for you, because you can just look at it and you know 5 plus 5 equals 10, so our x value is 5. But I'm going to show you these steps so that you get used to it, and get used to the way that I have found to be the easiest, or at least it's the easiest for me. So I like to circle what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for x, and I want to get this by itself so that it's on this side of the equation by itself, and then everything else is on the other side. So if we have an x, and we know that it adds 5, and it's adding 5 to give you 10, the opposite of adding 5 would be subtracting 5. Or you'll hear it sometimes as the inverse. The inverse of adding is subtracting, and you cannot just do it to one side, so you're going to subtract it from what is already given. 5 minus 5 cancels, that's 0. You're going to bring down the x, bring down the equal sign, and then what is 10 minus 5? Well, that's 5, which is what we said, but it was just the way to solve it. So again, these will get more complicated. We're not only going to be doing one-step equations, it's just I wanted to review the one steps before we move to the next part. Okay, so that's example 1. Let's do our next one. So now if I have x minus 12 equals 8, so if we have some number, minus 12 gives us 8, then the number would have to be bigger than 12. So it would be, again, I circled my variable. The opposite of subtracting is adding. So I would add 12. So the inverse of subtracting is adding, just like we did here. We want that to cancel out. And then you're going to add 12 to the other side. So again, bring down your x, bring down your equal. 8 plus 12. You can use a calculator if you want, or you can just know that 8 plus 12 is 20. Okay, I am going to start having you guys get in the habit of checking, especially because when you're doing your assignments, most of the time it's going to tell you, or I always have it set where it tells you if you're right or wrong. So if we plug 20 back into this equation, I'm going to plug it in for x because it says x equals 20. So we would do 20 minus 12 equals 8. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So yes, that is correct. So we typed it in. 20 minus 12 is 8. 8 equals 8. So that number was correct. So we did it correctly. This one I forgot to check, but I'm going to plug that in. So 5 plus 5 equals 10. That is correct. So I can keep going. Alright. And notice this one was a subtraction, this was an addition, but it still felt the same. It was just you needed to add instead of subtract. Okay, here's another example. Sometimes this messes people up or students up because the equals and the x are switched. So really it doesn't matter where the x is at. That's still why I like to circle my variable. So I'm going to circle what I'm trying to find. So it's x minus 3. What's the opposite of subtracting 3? We need to add 3 and add 3. 8 plus 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, sometimes I count with my fingers. Equals x. Let's check to make sure that we did it correctly. Plug that in. So it would be 8 equals 11 minus 3. 11 minus 3, 11, 10, 9, 8. So does 8 equal 8? Yes, it does. So we're doing that correctly. Okay, let's do the next one. And this one is where most mistakes will happen once you start having negatives, which is everyone's favorite. And I am totally being sarcastic. But again, solve it the same exact way. I'm going to circle my variable. What's the opposite of add 6? Subtract 6 and subtract 6. 6 minus 6 cancels. Bring down your equal. Bring down your x. And I'm going to draw an arrow on that so it doesn't look like it's a subtraction or anything. Okay, so I'm going to draw a number line because that usually seems to help. So I'm going to start way over here at 0. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, negative 11, and I'm not going to have enough room, negative 13, negative 14, negative 15, negative 16, negative 17, negative 18, negative 19, negative 20. Sorry, I ran out of room. So where we're going to start, sorry, that was really loud. I dropped my pen. We're going to start at negative 14. Now, if I'm subtracting 6, that means it's getting smaller, so it would have to go this direction. So I would bounce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then my answer would be negative 20. Sorry, I dropped it again. So negative 20 would be my answer. If I wanted to check my work, because we said this is the answer, it'd be negative 20 plus 6. So you would start at negative 20, add 6, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you'd end up at negative 14, which is what we got. In a calculator, negative 14 equals negative 14. So in a calculator, in your calculator, I don't know if that video jumped or not, but in your calculator, if you wanted to type in negative 14, remember hit the 14, hit the negative, and then you would subtract 6, and you'd get negative 20. If you were checking your work and you wanted to start with negative 20, you would do 20, hit the negative button, and then plus 6 gives us negative 14. So remember, you can use your phone calculator, your computer calculator. If you have your own calculator, you can use that as well. It's just a matter of paying attention to where that little negative button is.